Incremental readings. So now it's the turn for the private search space in incremental reading. That is something I think I have never even mentioned in my channel, even after 700 videos about Supermemo. But that's relevant. That's why it's part of this course. So what is the private search space? It's a memory extending repository built on your personal reading collection. So basically, you use Supermemo, you import what you want to process, to learn from. Could be reading, but it's not limited to reading. Could be videos and audios. Remember that. For the sake of simplicity, I will just keep saying reading, even though it's not limited to text. Then you keep importing, processing, chunking down until you want to memorize. You decide what to memorize, right? As a consequence, you're building your private search space. So let's say that I do a lot of health and science and humanities and cognition and business, what you see here at the knowledge tree. Then I can look for that. Hey, what about this theory in economy? Oh, what about the effects of fasting in health? So as I keep reading, processing what I read, and deciding what I want to remember, I keep growing this. That's why it's memory extending. And it's personal. It's what I have been reading. So it's acting as external, it's not in my brain, personalized for me, extension of your brain, memory, and creativity. You could say at some degree the second brain, but I don't really like the second brain thing. It's way too marketing-ish. It's not exactly the same. The second brain is I don't want to memorize that because I think I don't need to memorize that. So therefore I put it on my second brain so I can retrieve it later with a search. That is, from what I decide to remember, because Supermemo, incremental reading, is a learning method. From what I have been learning that I am on the process or I finished, let me search, let me retrieve that. In case I forget, I will have it in my collection, and then I'll have some more information of what I still haven't memorized. That is on the same text, still unprocessed, or related sources and stuff like that. That's really important. Then why you should care about that? Because something that Google cannot compete. Google in the sense that it's the best search, the best web engine you can get. So first, there are unique priorities. Relevance. Your collection is relevant for you, because what I don't care is just not existing in my collection. I don't even have imported that, or perhaps I imported something, and then realize, that's not what I thought. It goes in a different direction, and I delete it, right? So it's very curated, unlike what you will get in Google. That is whatever is in Google, and it's like noise that I don't care about that, don't care about this, and so on. Prioritized, because you use priorities in Supermemo, so anything in health will have 1%, 5, 10, even 90. Let me actually do it for real. Look at the priorities. I can actually order. Do you see I have very high priority? More or less all of the ranges, 14, 15, 21, 30s, 40s, but look, where am I? So in health, I don't have that low priority. In the second half, is not that much in that concept. But I still have some until 64. So the lowest priority in health is 64. So it's relevant because it's in my collection, it's prioritized because I use priorities, and it's semantically organized because I use concepts, in this case health, in the example. Second, that Google cannot compete is consolidation, because since I'm building the big picture incrementally through incremental reading, I'm evolving and refining the coherent models, mental models. I'm evolving and refining into coherent models of reality that grows in your mind gradually. That now, this detail makes sense with this other. So, for instance, fasting, that why fasting, not eating, is healthy. With certain duration and all of those details. When I consolidate more information from sources is transformed into knowledge in my brain, Google cannot compete with that. These coherent models. Third, semantic structure, like simulating the creative process in a slow-mo. That for me is semantic. Means that I can travel. So from health, I travel to fasting. Fasting, I can travel to aging or metabolism. Why slows down metabolism? Why in a slower metabolism increase lifespan? All of this makes sense. Everything together. It's not that isolated facts like in Google that news about this. You have some news about I don't know, the president or a celebrity. Then this is okay. It fits the criteria of what I have searched, but it's perhaps not relevant to me. It's not semantically connected. That everything is on its own. There's no coherent meaning. So now at the end of the day, your mind or your brain thrives on relevance. And Google thrives on abundance. A lot of information. Boom, here you go. Even not just a lot of information, but quickly. That this information, it's very recent, has existed for just a few minutes, perhaps. Like scoring for sporting events, you have the score updated every minute. Something like that, that is wow. A lot of information, super quick, but it's not relevant for you necessarily. It's not consolidated and doesn't have a semantic structure. Then, having said that, now we know about what private search space is, then why is relevant? Because materials are curated by you for your needs. Hey, I need this for my work, business, economy, and management. I need because it's part of my job. But I also want because I'm interested as a hobby in humanities and cognition. It really sparks my interest. And now I here have concepts about the course that is not for me. So I don't need to memorize that or to learn that. I already know. It's how I distribute the course because I go meta and part of the course, like this is a slideshow, kind of a slideshow, I use Supermemo for that. So I can do it incrementally. It is curated to my needs. Once I don't have this need, I will get rid of that or I will move it to a different collection because my needs are dynamic. Prioritized, as we have seen before, and organized. What happens if I organize by concepts and I do priorities is that I will get the maximum pleasure, the maximum value, personal value. That will be the best for me, and most likely for no one else. Everyone is different. That's the key. You will organize, you will prioritize. What will change is exactly what you are prioritizing and how. And what's the benefit of the search space, your private search space? Eliminates noise and distractions, like Google. For instance, one example. Exactly, I remember this. Kanken is one of the names of one exam in Japanese language. But hey, I'm getting the brand of the same name about those bags, right? This is noise. I don't want that. Yeah, Kanken, kanji. Oh, here you go. That's exactly what I was looking for. Is one easy example that you can have a lot of noise. This is just to be visual with images. It will be the same experience with the web. Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. Because it's not prioritized, it's not curated, it's not my personal, private space. Then, there's a perpetual consolidation because your private search space has no finish, has no ending. Or we could say it will end with your life, if we want to go poetic. So basically, the process is continuous. It will always be increasing. That doesn't mean it's only add. You can also remove. You can delete stuff in your collection. Yes, but most of the time, it's ever growing. Even if you delete some percentage, and you recycle, it will increase in size. Then the coherent models of reality emerge incrementally over time, as we have seen. It's just a matter of time. Depending on the priorities, if it's high enough, I will get there. And if it's not high enough, it will be perpetually postponed. So therefore, the coherent model of reality will be half cooked, not the entire big picture. Because we're human, we don't have enough time. We have to choose. That doesn't mean it's bad. It's actually the opposite. It's extremely good because we can pinpoint, cherry pick what we want, which model of realities we want to build in our minds. And the outcome is the knowledge becomes deeply integrated and actionable. That's key. That's absolutely key. What happens if I do rote? I download a pre-made deck of flashcards, and I, as a parrot, I do rote learning. That knowledge is not actionable, meaning that in real life, I can apply that knowledge. Not only that, this knowledge is very semantic, meaning that it's very deeply connected, integrated, that everything makes sense. Like for instance, in health or in medicine. Oh, I have high blood pressure. What are the effects? Oh, the outcomes or the causes? Oh, if I have high cholesterol, so everything is a consequence of that, therefore, and if you do this exercise or if you are sedentary, so everything makes sense. I do one action, or there's a one reason. And not that, oh yeah, the highest mountain is Everest, and that's it. I cannot connect Everest with anything else. It's just a random fact that lives in my mind on its own, but it's not actionable. If you really push it in a trivia game or to show off with my friends or family, but other than that, that is very artificial, but I can use those random facts, right? Then, what happens is that knowledge is dynamic, it's not static. I have said in the beginning of this video that I have done 700 videos, but my knowledge about Supermemo, or anything, but to simplify, just about meta, Supermemo, has been dynamic. It's very unlikely that I have several videos that I know Supermemo or incremental reading just about the same. A little more every time. And it's ever growing. That's the beauty. You accumulate. Why is ever growing? Because you decide what to remember. That means that you don't forget. So you build upon every time. Then, the semantic structure and neural creativity. That is like more recent. The neural review in Supermemo has been introduced in Supermemo 18. So only the 18 and 19 has those features. And according to Piotr Wozniak, the creator, it's like it reached a point that is a must, that he cannot conceive using incremental reading without neural creativity, neural review. It will be a deal breaker now. Imagine that. Let's start with the result. So what does the neural creativity with the semantic structure of your collection already? Of your private search space, may I say. Creative breakthroughs, the aha moments that occur in your brain, interact with your private search space. That's the consequence. Why? Because it mimics a creativity process using curated collections as artificial memory extension. It goes beyond my biology, what I actually forgot. Even though I perhaps memorized this element, this item I decided from this topic, I forgot the topic itself, its existence, its author, what it was about. I can only pinpoint what I decided to remember. So I can search for that extra thing that is not in my brain, but on my collection, on my private search space. And encourage associations and insights, especially if it's already structured, semantically structured and linked. Because to go neural in Supermemo, you need to have connections, links with element to element, element to concept, or even concept to concept, if you will. When you have that, you can crawl, you can walk those semantic relationships. And based on the knowledge you have at that moment, you can create more and have this aha moment. Because you don't do this from someone else's collection or a pre-built collection or Google. You do it on your own private search space. That's the beauty. And, by the way, one of the reasons to go one single collection, or as much to have one main collection in Supermemo. So you have that. You don't fragment this, unless it's just one language in particular, like Chinese, boom, on its own. Then, the long-term value of incremental reading, because the value of knowledge lies on its connections, not in quantity. So not because I have more knowledge, let's say, I have memorized more trivia questions, random trivia questions that are isolated, asemantic, that doesn't increase the value. It's the same. I cannot apply anything. I can only say, if you ask me this question, I will know the answer. But I cannot apply anything. Oh yeah, I know what's the highest peak, the highest mountain, the capital of that country, in which year that guy won the Nobel Prize, stuff like that. Because the value is not about the quantity, the size, it's about the connections, how interconnected it is. Everything makes sense and is applicable. Then the long-term value of incremental reading goes to that. You make these connections. Oh, high blood pressure, if I do fasting, what will be the effects of fasting if I had high blood pressure? Or if I have high cholesterol and I do fast, water fasting, or intermittent fasting. Oh, it's some new information. Well, not for me, but it's an example. It's some new information I have, which something I already know, but there's some mental models of reality that are being created and updated with the knowledge I already have, and I do amplify that knowledge. And perhaps they realize, I was mistaken, and this is a fallacy, or this is incorrect, or is outdated. So perhaps, at some degree, we could say, I'm not increasing the size, the quantity of that knowledge, but I'm just updating that knowledge. It's about the connections, not the quantity. So, I could say in Anki, I had more than 100,000 flashcards memorized. Yeah, it's about quantity. It was very asemantic because it was mostly language, but it's not the point of this video, but just to let you know that I did the opposite for years. And I just wasted my time. So the advantage is that your collection becomes an unparalleled resource of learning, problem solving, and creativity curated for you. So that will be the best collection, the best resource for you is your own private search space. It's the best. It's just made for you. Exactly what you want in the priorities you like or want or wish. That's why there's no way someone else will do a better job than you for yourself. You are the best teacher to yourself, and you are the best artist to yourself. Remember that incremental reading becomes an art. And it's just by iterations. Everything is incremental. So the more time you invest in incremental reading, the value of your private search space increases. Exactly. I have 4 years. With those 4 years, I have time to build upon more stuff. Let's say that in 4 years extra, I will have more concepts, and they're very interconnected, and even with analogies. And nobody intended to have this concept now. That if we follow this, what I already mentioned, the high blood pressure and fasting, then I could see something unrelated in mathematics or in biology with animals, and saying, that doesn't apply to humans, but there's something related. Or could be even in, in Minecraft, a video game. That, in video game, in Minecraft, you have hunger, right? Then you need to eat food so you get the hunger on control, or it will decrease your health until the point you can die from hunger. It's very simplified, but it's not as easy as I just eat food and that's it. Not all food restores the same amount of hunger, and some food can be poisonous. Then, to wrap up, your private search space is relevant because it's curated for you. It's consolidated. It's refined to build a deep understanding, very interconnected knowledge and facts, not facts on its own. It is a structure with concepts, a knowledge tree, and built for creative integration. Because I can have knowledge, that with this knowledge I can acquire new knowledge, is a thing, or I can, let's say, create new knowledge. I'm creating a tool, a paradigm, a method that no one else has created. I'm not learning something that has created already, and I acquire. I'm making knowledge. I'm being creative. So the quote, the take-home message: invest in your learning today to shape your thinking for tomorrow. Invest in your learning today to shape your thinking for tomorrow. That is a lot embedded here. So more closing thought, more explicit, so less poetic, is that your private search space grows in relevance, structure, value with every year invested in incremental reading. Everything. That's why you will want to back up your collection as if it was your child or your own life, because the value will be way too high. That I'm not taking any chances to lose my collection. What's the takeaway? Build and refine your private search space to unlock personalized, lifelong learning and creativity. This is massive. This has no value. Like, it's way too high. Meaning that if you pay 30 or if you pay $70 and then $30 every few years for a license key in Supermemo, that is a bargain. A bargain. The value you will get for yourself is astronomous. Even if you pay $150,000, whatever the Ivy League in the US costs to get a diploma there, that's even higher. You will have a lot more value. And for life. For just a few tens of dollars. Bro. That's all. Private search space and incremental reading, a personalized knowledge extension. Rather long video. I wanted to be on its own video, not in parts. And yep, let me know if everything is clear enough. This is important. That's all for now. See you incrementally.